The holiday season is supposed to be the most wonderful time of year. But let's be honest. If you are a nurse, it's often a nightmare. The world expects you to be a beacon of calm in the storm. While your personal life, emotions and physical health take a backseat to the chaos. You are asked to do more with less, while the world outside is drinking coca and singing carols. It's easy to get wrapped up in the guilt of, I should be able to handle this, but at what cost? If the holidays are about spreading joy and goodwill, then why are nurses burning out left and right at record rates during this time? Here's the harsh reality. Working in healthcare during the holidays isn't going to get easier.
It's not easy.
Why not?
The chaotic shifts, overburdened units, and emotionally intense cases won't magically disappear just because the calendar says December. So the question becomes, how do you take care of yourself in a way that actually works? Let's first dispel the myth that self-care is some luxury escape involving candles, a spa treatment. Self-care is strategic, intentional, and often inconvenient, but absolutely essential. If you are waiting for the perfect time to take care of yourself, you are going to be waiting forever. In fact, many nurses believe that self-care is something to get to once the holiday rush is over. But that's not how burnout works. Because burnout creeps in because we overlook the small things that drain our mental and physical reserves. And it is not the catastrophic event or the hardest shift of your life that burns you out. It's the accumulation of small neglected needs. The skipped meals, the cut short bathroom breaks, the just get through this shift mentality. Once in a while all of this is good, but in healthcare where it is repeated over and over and over again, it is draining you on all levels. But then how can we get a grip on self-care when the needs of others are always louder than my needs and your needs? It's simple, though not easy. You have to flip the narrative. Self-care doesn't have to be some grand gesture or unattainable idea. It can be as simple as the choice you make during a shift. You might not have control over the workload, but what you do have control over is how you respond to it. And sometimes the most powerful form of self-care is saying no. No, I can't stay late again. No, I won't skip my lunch break today. These boundaries are essential, yet they feel like a luxury in a profession where the culture often celebrates sacrifice. And truth be told, we nurses do love a good sacrifice story.
Yes, we do.
And if you agree or disagree with me, please leave your opinion in the comments. But let's talk about boundaries for the moment. I often see that there is a misconception in nursing that setting boundaries means we are being selfish or shrinking our own responsibilities. But the truth is, a nurse who never sets boundaries is a nurse on the road to burnout. And during the holiday rush, when the demands on your time and energy feels endless, those boundaries are even more crucial. And by now you might ask, what does that look like out in the field? It might mean planning out small intentional act of self-preservation. Something as simple as taking a 5-minute break to breathe, to stretch, or grab water can make a massive difference in how you feel at the end of a 12 to 16 hour shift. But this only works if you truly commit to it. If you believe that your well-being is not negotiable. You won't skip a medication administration just because you're busy. So why are you willing to skip on yourself? And truth be told, this is a thing I learned in the fire department. If I break down, I cannot help any other person. So you have to remember that. Taking care of yourself is taking care of your patients. But let's move on, because with this in mind, we have the guilt. Oh yeah, the guilt, the nurse's constant companion. We often think that taking time for ourselves makes us less competent, less dedicated, or less caring. The holidays amplifies this guilt tenfold. There is this pressure to not only be the perfect nurse, but also the perfect family member, friend, and holiday enthusiast. And when you're pulled in all those directions, something has to give. Unfortunately, that something is often your own health. But here's the thing: you can't pour from an empty cup. We've all heard it before, but how often do we actually live by it? You've seen firsthand what happens when you neglect your own needs. Your patience thins, mistakes happens, and your passion for the job, what brought you into nursing in the first place, starts to erode. One way to combat this slow erosion is by building resilience into your routines, especially during the holidays. And by now you might say, oh, what do you mean by that? Think of resilience as a reserve tank of energy, patience, and mental clarity. You don't just wake up one day feeling resilient, you build it up bit by bit by bit. And the best part of it is that you can start today with something small. For instance, let's talk about mindfulness. Now, I know some of you might be rolling your eyes. Mindfulness can seem like one of those buzzwords that everyone throws around without any real world application. But here is why it matters. Mindfulness isn't about adding something else to your already overwhelming to-do list. It's about being present in the moment, no matter what that moment may look like. When you're feeling overwhelmed, instead of letting your mind race to the end of your shift or how much more you still have to do, take a minute to center yourself. Use grounding exercise, deep breath, or just pausing to notice the sensations around you. These are all ways to break the cycle of stress before it breaks you. And no, you don't need a meditation mat or a quiet room to do it. You can do it in the middle of a chaotic shift, because it's all about just stopping up for that moment, taking a deep breath. Usually what I do is when I leave a patient room or when I enter a patient room, if I'm in no hurry, I will just take a deep breath, ground myself, and then go in, because then I can be present at the moment. It's not because the patient may be hard, but it is to put aside all these things that happens on the other, rooms. And let's move on to another strategy, which is what I call micro recovery. We often think of recovery as something we'll get to after a shift, after the holidays, after the madness subsides. But what if you could build recovery into your day, even when you're working? These micro recovery moments, sipping water, laughing with a colleague, stepping outside for fresh air if that's possible, aren't indulgences. These are necessities. And speaking of laughter, we underestimate the power of human connection, especially during times of stress. Your colleagues are going through the same holiday chaos that you are. Don't isolate yourself emotionally, even if you are tempted to withdraw. There's a unique bond that forms when you share the experience of holiday nursing together. Lean into that. Use your colleagues for a little bit of a talk. Talk with the people who is on your shift with you. Vent a little bit about the frustration and even laugh about the absurdity of it all. That shared experience can lighten the emotional load more than you might realize. And now let's pivot to another crucial aspect of self-care: your personal time. The holidays are a tricky balance between work and home life. We all know how quickly the holiday spirit can turn into holiday dread when you are working more than you are celebrating. It's essential to protect your personal time with the same vigilance you give to your patient's needs. If you've been stuck in the mindset that, oh, you'll make up for it after the holiday rush is over, it's time for a reality check. Personal time is not something you put on the back burner. It's something you integrate, even when it feels impossible. Whether it's a quiet morning coffee, oh, I like my morning coffee, a walk after your shift, or spending time with loved ones. These moments are non negotiable. And no, they don't have to be perfect, they just have to be yours. Let's not forget one final piece of the puzzle: grace. Give yourself the same grace you extend to others. The holiday rush will challenge you. It's almost guaranteed. You might feel irritable, tired, and stretched thin. You'll probably have moments where you don't feel like yourself, and that's perfectly okay. I actually have a mantra I use ever so often. I use it for my colleagues, for my patients, and even for myself. And it's okay not to be okay. Because life is demanding. And even more so is the nursing profession. It demands compassion for others, but during the holiday, it's critical to extend that compassion to yourself. Self care is not a one time thing, nor is it something you check off a list. It's a mindset, a constant negotiation between what you give to others and what you owe to yourself. Because at the end of the day, nursing during the holidays will always be demanding. But burnout doesn't have to be a foregone conclusion. You have more control than you think. Self care isn't about being selfish, it's about sustaining your ability to keep doing what you do best, taking care of others without losing yourself in the process. And if you want to know more about being this great nurse, then check out this video, which YouTube thinks is perfect for you and will help you in your nursing career. So I'll be looking forward to seeing you over there.